Hey everyone, it's Justine and welcome to a new video tutorial. Today I'm excited to announce that there are some new Catherine Pooler inks out from the Spa collection, and I'm going to be making a video with a few random card ideas on how to use them and how they pair well with other inks that are already in the collection. This video is a part of a video hop, so be sure to check out the next person in the video description below when you're all finished with my video. So let's get started and take a look at the 4 brand new colors that are beautiful. They are part of the Spa collection, so they're not super bright like the Party collection, but they are really stunning colors. So let's go through each one of them as we're going to go stamp and see how well they work with others. So I just wanted to quickly do a stamp of each one of the colors so you can see what they look like on their own. I am stamping with some white cardstock from Catherine Pooler. Whether you're using this or your Neenah Solar white cardstock, it really doesn't matter. And I am stamping the first color here, which is Lemongrass. This is a beautiful yellow color that just completes the combo of the Spa collection. The next one is Sage, followed by Rouge, which is this beautiful deep red color that I absolutely love. I think this might become my new favorite red. Sorry, Rockin' Red. And then the last one is Queen for a Day, which is such a fun name for an ink. And it's this really dark royal purple color. So those are the 4 new colors, but of course it's important to know how they work best with other colors. So Catherine Pooler inks are really fantastic in the sense that they don't really contaminate. So I can go ahead and just wipe quickly with a cloth and not worry about, my yellow interfering with my red or my red interfering with my yellow. That's one of the properties that are really amazing about them. I love how Catherine bundles her inks into the Party collection, the Spa collection, the neutrals, so that you know which ones work together. The Spa collection are a little bit more of natural colors, I would call them, whereas the Party collection are those bright, vibrant colors, and those are the ones that I mainly use in my video. But the Spa collection, in my opinion, are really great for natural looking cards, for cards during the fall, Christmas season. I really like to use them most because they do have those dark, rich colors. So I am going ahead now and I'm stamping the first layer of stamps, and I am doing this with 4 different colors here using my MISTI, and you'll see how I'm turning them, and this allows me to be able to just stamp this stamp 4 times without having to move it around. I'm also listing the inks above in the top left corner there so you know which ones I'm using and which ones these pair best with. So I am now going in with the second layer of the stamping. I'm going to speed things up just slightly here since you know the MISTI technique on how to get this done quickly. So I'm now going in with the second layer of each one of these stamps. I found these beautiful flowers here super easy to line up. And this stamp here is called the Poignant Poppies stamp. This is a beautiful layering flower stamp. It also is available in a page from the book bundle in which there are 3 stamps, several dies, and a background stamp. And there are plenty of bundles available in this new release from Catherine Pooler, and this flower is among them. And I think it just comes to life with all of these beautiful layers as the layer layers one on top of the other. And now that we have these new inks with the Spa collection, it's just really great to be able to see them really just shine. And what I love about these is you could leave them as is for a similar no line coloring look. And in a way I kind of wish that I left them like this, but of course I could have restamped them in just a couple of minutes if I wanted. But there is an outline as well, so you can go ahead with a black ink and actually stamp this with an outline. So that's a really nice option for this stamp as well. You could give it that outline, you can have the no line coloring look if you choose, or you can simply use maybe even just a darker color just to give it a subtle outline. The black really makes everything pop in my opinion, and I think they look great either way. Now I personally don't own the coordinating dies for these, so I did have to go and fussy cut these. But as I'm putting my card together, I wanted to start off with the really large sentiment stamp that I'm going to be using with these flowers. This is from a gorgeous set called Take Courage stamp set that is available in the same bundle that I'll link to below in the video description, which has a bunch of really great sentiments like braver, stronger, loved, take courage, and then this really long sentiment here that I've stamped in black ink. I then went over to my paper trimmer here and I actually trimmed out a rectangle. You could of course use any rectangle dies that you have to do this if you prefer. And so I left about a ½ an inch from each side of the border and I just went along with my trimmer. My trimmer has a measurement guide on the handle, so it's easy for me to line everything up. So after I did that, I kind of changed my mind about what I wanted to do. So I went ahead and I kept that rectangle piece that I had from before because that's going to be important later. And then I went ahead and I stamped the sentiment here on a pre-cut Catherine Pooler card base. Don't mind how messy my Misty has gotten. It's gotten quite inky. And I'm going to stamp this on the front of my sentiment, or of my card. And it's important that you kept that rectangle from before because it's going to be perfectly aligned with the sentiment, so we can add this as a fun border later. So when I finished stamping, I grabbed that frame that we had cut out earlier with the sentiment on the inside. I can use that sentiment later on another card if I like. And I'm just yanking out some 3D foam tape here, and I'm going to be propping this up onto my card. So this is a little bit different where I'm adding a frame to the top and elevating the frame rather elevating the sentiment. It's just a nice way to add a little bit of variety to your cards. So I added that there to the card. It's looking awfully white at the moment though, so I need that pop of color. So I went ahead and added the flowers that I had fussy cut from the stamping, and don't forget there are coordinating dies available if you prefer. So I wasn't particularly sure on any particular order I wanted to arrange them in, but I wanted to show that all of these colors work beautifully together, and even though there's a green flower, who said there can't be a green flower in nature? Oh, why not? So I added these all to the bottom, even though they might not be the true color of poppies. This is the color combinations that I came up with the new inks, so I hope you enjoyed that. My next card is going to be a very clean and simple card, and I'm going to be using the same flowers and the same color combination. So I'm starting off again with my lightest color, which is Polished, followed by Rouge, and lastly by Peppermint Scrub. And then with the purples, I'm going in with the Sugared Lavender, then the Royal Treatment, and Queen for a Day. And I wanted to show you what the second layering flower looks like in this set as well, so that's what I actually ended up stamping down in purple. Now the difference between this card and the previous card with the layering stamping is I didn't do that final layer of the outline, and so this stayed more of almost like a no-line coloring look, where it looks like I actually colored it by hand rather than actually stamped it. It looks so lifelike. I'm going to go ahead and add some of the stems using some of that sage ink, and now they're all finished being stamped. I apologize for going so quickly through it. I just wanted to save as much time as possible. And since you've already seen that particular flower being stamped out, I thought I would just go ahead and really just speed things up for you. This beautiful sentiment here comes with the poppy stamp, and it says it's hard to forget someone who gave you so much to remember. And then I went ahead and added this beautiful sort of swirl to underneath that would line up my sentiment, and that's from that Take Courage stamp that I used with the sentiment from the previous card. So I absolutely love the way that this card turned out in the end. I think it's absolutely stunning. The next card I created is a very clean and simple look. This is showing you that you can really create a stamp in just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to be using that beautiful sage ink that is one of the new colors. I had arranged some of the stamps from that Take Courage stamp set that says you are braver than you think, and also from the Take Courage stamp set is this beautiful image here, and I thought I would stamp that in sage ink and just have that as a very, very simple background with a sentiment and a little color. So as you can see, beautiful cards can really just be created in a couple of minutes. Now my next card isn't necessarily inspiration using the Catherine Pooler ink New Colors. This is more pulling inspiration from the stamp sets themselves. I decided to go ahead and start using the Stronger and Braver Than You Think. I love this stamp because you can mix and match variety of sentiments in there. And I finally settled on the words Stronger and Braver Than You Think, as well as this really pretty corner decorative piece that I thought would be super fun. And in order to get that decorative piece in the exact same spot on the opposite side, I'm actually going to go ahead and remove the sentiment stamps that are there. I'm going to flip my card 180 degrees, so it's now on its bottom, and then I'm just going to stamp down again. So you'll notice I did not remove that corner stamp out of my MISTI. That's going to guarantee me some perfect placement. Now, as much as I loved this, just kind of as a black and white sentiment, I decided to add a pop of color, but I didn't want to add stamping. I decided to do a little bit of embossing. So I used some WOW embossing powder. This is Aladdin Embossing Glitter by WOW, also sold at the Catherine Pooler store. And I decided to add this little cute floral piece here onto the opposite corners of the frame. Now, in order to get my stamped image close but not overlap my sentiments, I used some purple tape to go over top of my sentiments to create a little bit of a mask. And this is a very quick DIY mask, nothing that I spent hours fussy cutting or anything, just added some of that tape. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp with Versamark ink directly over top of that tape so I know it's all protected in there. And I'm able to remove the purple tape afterwards whenever I feel like it before I add the heat. So going ahead in the top corner now, and if there's ever any embossing powder that looks a little strange because of the way you tore your paper, or your tape rather, you can go ahead and just remove it with a dry paintbrush. So I covered my areas there with the embossing powder and just gave it a quick tap to let any fall out. I removed the tape itself from the purple tape, and you can see that it protected my sentiment on there, which is exactly what I wanted, and it did exactly as it should. Then using my heat tool, I went in and just heated up the embossing powder to let it melt, and it looked absolutely pretty when it was all finished. And I like that this card is just simple with a little hint of color. I think it looks really nice in the end. So here is a final look at that card here. I think it turned out really classy and quite pretty. I also wanted to mention that I ended up embellishing the final cards here with some Nuvo drops, and I used 2 drops for these cards that are the vintage Nuvo drops, which come in these absolutely adorable rectangular square bottles, and they also are dry matte, so they're a little bit different than the white, for example, that I'm using here, that dry glossy. And I ended up adding some of the white here to the centers of the flowers to make them pop just a little bit, and I think around those flowers just makes a nice little subtle embellishment that doesn't distract at all from the card. So I'm going to do a close-up now of all 4 cards that I created today, and you're welcome to continue to take a little bit of a closer peek. So here's that clean and simple with the beautiful sage after everything's all said and dry. The second card here, this clean and simple no line coloring look with the layering stamp, that's a sympathy card. Absolutely love that one. The third one here is the one that I created with the different combination of flowers. You can see when they're all dry how subtle that looks and pretty with the nice frame around the sentiment. And lastly, the clean and simple card that you have with the embossed look as well as the black and white and some Nuvo drops to match. So thanks so much everyone for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I also have a suggested video below in the description. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them below and I'll answer as best I can. Bye bye for now.